What you give is what you get. And the secret of creating an outstanding life is giving. In this video, we're going to look at how giving can completely help to transform your life and help you to manifest the things that you desire in your life actually. So let's go. Now, what you give is what you get. I think we all know this on some level because we've all heard it so many times. We've all been told so many times. It's something that is in every scripture, books, and in every form of wisdom. It's often giving is what you get, whether we call it karma or cause and effect. It's something we understand, but we don't truly understand it to the extent that can actually completely be a game changer in our life. But here's the thing that's very interesting, because what you send out always comes back. What you give, you get. What you sow, you reap. What you see in other people exists in yourself as well. And so life is like an echo. And the world is only mirroring back our attitude, our energy, and what we give. But what we don't realize is that we are always giving. We sometimes tend to think of giving as only in terms of money or financial means, or in terms of physical things, items and material things. And we don't realize that giving goes far beyond just those things. Sometimes we also have like some form of resistance toward giving, because of like, if I give, what if I don't get it back? What if I give money or something and then I lose it and then I don't have enough for myself? And then it doesn't come back. Sometimes we also have a negative association, being like, if I give too much, people will take advantage of me. And maybe people have even experience of certain things where they give, where they help, and then something happens and they feel betrayed. And then they feel like, well, I'm stupid because I'm one who gave. But we have to realize that often in those moments, what we give will always come back in a certain way. But we also have to look at the intention behind giving. And often we don't give genuinely with no strings attached. Sometimes we expect things. Even if it's subconsciously, if I treat you well, I expect you to love me back. Or if I do this for you, I expect you to be a good friend. And so we have all those, secret motives or, hidden intention behind in what we give. But notice that how you give is equally important than what you give. And if how you give is full of, things behind and things that you cannot expect, expectations behind what you give, then it's only fair that people who give things to you also have hidden expectations and treat you in certain ways. That's something to consider in how you give. Now, here's something that's very interesting. Have you ever noticed that when you walk in the street and you smile, for no reason, people just smile? It's interesting. Have you ever been in a situation where you're in a rush, you're in a hurry, you gotta get places, and you gotta go there fast because you're late? And it feels like the whole world is freaking slowing you down. Maybe the light is red and people are walking slow and there's traffic jam all of a sudden when there's nothing, never fucking traffic jam in the place. Isn't that really interesting? Is it not interesting as well that when you just give generously and without any, just genuinely for no reason, you just give, it just feels so good and it can really make your day? That's the power of giving. But here's what I invite you to do. I invite you to rethink giving, because as I said earlier, we are always in the process of giving. Whether you give physically, like I talked about, or when you give with your thoughts, how do you talk to yourself in your mind? How do you judge other people in your thoughts? How do you talk to people? Whether it's the barista at the Starbucks, whether it's a stranger in the street, whether it's your employee or your boss or your family. How are you toward them? What kind of attitude you have toward them? What kind of attitude you have toward yourself, toward your body, toward the world? So we are always constantly giving. Our energy, our thoughts goes out, our emotion goes out, and we are always emitting things. And based on what we emit, we attract something similar. It comes back to us in similar ways, but not always the way we expect it to be. So giving goes much further. And I invite you today to ask yourself this question: what am I giving in my life on a day-to-day basis? What am I giving? What kind of mindset am I projecting? What kind of thought am I projecting on others? How do I treat others mentally and emotionally in my own thought? How do I judge others? How do I judge myself? How do I give? Do I give genuinely? Do I give with strings attached? Do I give scarcely? Notice all the answer to all those questions. And then ask yourself this: what is it that I really want in my life? Maybe you want to feel more respected, more important, you want to be more financially secure. Maybe you want a better quality of relationship, be more successful, I don't know. Whatever it is you want, ask yourself, what can I give that will invite this back in my life? And this is where it gets tricky, because sometimes we feel like, well, if I want to be more financially rich, but I don't have any money, how the fuck do I give money? Doesn't make sense. I cannot give what I don't have. But this is where we get it wrong. Because we can always give something, even if it's $1, or even if it's in your imagination. You can always give something, even if it's just a positive thought toward another person, even if it's just imagining that your brothers or your friends or the strangers are rich and prospered and successful. Even your competition in your own business, you can imagine them striving and being successful. That is also a way of giving if you don't have the physical means to do it. But you gotta be willing to do it fully, because the moment you give, you presuppose that you already have that thing. So if you want more love, you gotta give more love to people. Not necessarily in a deeply intimate way, but it can be just loving thoughts. It can be just kindness. It can be just compliments. It can be just being friendlier. But what you give always comes back. Not always from where you gave. It can find you in so many different ways. But it often even comes back multiplied, especially if you give with no intention behind. You just give because you chose, that's what I'm going to give, because that's what I am. Because that's who I am. And that is so important. When you go and you start living life from that perspective and that mindset, you'll be amazed at what comes back in your life and how fast it comes back. So I invite you to think about this. What are you giving right now in your life? How can you give better? And what do you need to give in your life? What do you choose to give? Because what you give always comes back. And nobody becomes poor by giving. And every time you give something, whether it's just a good thought or an act of kindness, you are demonstrating that you have it in your life. So every time you spend money and you bless that money and you're grateful for paying this, even though you don't have much money maybe, you're giving money on an energy that is much higher than if you give with scarcity. And that matters. So I invite you to reflect on those questions. I invite you to put this to a test in your own life and give. Give what you want. Give freely. And expect nothing back. But know that it will come back. Because that's the law. That's the way that things works. And I will see you in my next video. Let me know what you think in the comments. Please like, subscribe, and share as always. And I will see you next time. Be well, guys.